It's like a fractal of work that doesn't go anywhere. That's what ADHD is. Easy for Rilke to say, right? Let everything happen to you. Yeah, no feeling is final. Pretty sure this feeling is final, man. I think this is the final feeling. And the final feeling is being overwhelmed by this sheer amount of shit that I've got going on for no apparent reason. The amount of activity that I've undertaken in the last 6 to 12 months to avoid feeling sad is absurd. And I need to get my life in order. It is a fucking shit show. It's crazy. It is absolutely nuts. Man, I just didn't want to be sad and ran into the arms of my old love for ADHD and just have been writing up a storm of scripts and projects, half baked, and a million different passions that last a week at a time. And it's really just not been great. Now I'm overwhelmed and I'm just looking at the sheer amount of stuff that's cool, but also impossible for any one person to even organize, much less manage actively. I've got first off, my bed is now a zone for putting computer equipment that is not currently in use. I do not sleep on my bed. I sleep on my couch. I've got like antennas, LoRa wave share antennas because I was setting up serial communication for some reason. I wanted to like send and receive control traffic to different servers like Raspberry Pis over LoRa. So yeah, I got that. That's great. Bluetooth dongle, Wi-Fi dongle, several. You need to have one in monitor mode, one can actually be injecting traffic, and on and on. Just physically, the physical hardware component is just a lot. I've got HSMs for Raspberry Pi, TPM. It's too much. We'll see my file system momentarily, but it's a true horror show. It's a million different test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5, test 6, and then a subdirectory, which is final, and then within final it's like in progress, a subdirectory, and then on down. It's like a fractal of work that doesn't go anywhere. That's what ADHD is. I mean, it's just like what is why it's all gotten out of control. It felt better at the time than just being sad. Kind of sucks, right? It really sucks. It's easier to avoid those things until it's not. And I mean, I've done some cool stuff. I've made some cool projects, but damn, it has gotten completely out of control. Just to inventory some of the projects, I'm going to start this up. I'm going to make it a text. Might as well. I mean, tradition at this point. Let's make another untitled text document. What projects have I made? Well, I made my little LoRa controller. So this is saying receiving control traffic over LoRa. I had Himitsu, which generates passwords and measures password entropy, and you can template out your passwords and use like random words, random alphanumeric characters, Crockford, base 32, and other character sets, and then it calculates the entropy. For some reason, we really need to do that. So that was Himitsu, aka Himi. I mean, there was my GNS3 deployment script that just modernized the GNS3 server deployer that they offer officially and added like WireGuard and optimized and kind of made the whole deployment process a little bit more efficient and faster. Sandbox projects, forgot what it was called, wrapper thing. And that did what? It was a bootstrap script. It would make a temporary directory and then mount tempfs to said temporary directory and use that to download a shell script hosted elsewhere. And then that shell script, would then be checked against its GPT signature would be checked. At which point, if that checks out, then the bootstrap continues. For some reason, I needed that, and that became a thing. Let me just look at my file system here. What else do we have? I need to start doing things other than just making more things. It's absurd. It's truly absurd. AI hustle. So getting Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT all together via the API, having a conversation. I'd ask a question and have them fight. I'd give them personalities that were incompatible and then make them fight for my entertainment. Pokemon-esque, right? Maybe a little bit problematic if you think about it. Yeah, AI fight, where I just literally made the AIs fight. Server deployment script. So I did my hardened containerized server that had what? gvisor, AppArmor profiles that I wrote, hardened SSH configuration, TCP/IP stack and kernel, hardened with sysctl, and on and on and on and on. So that script, also an Ansible playbook. Couldn't decide which one, so I made both. Brofu. So that would make dynamic. Ephemeral's not the right word, but it would, yeah, ephemeral is the right word. It would make an ephemeral SSH certificate authority and use that to sign SSH keys, and the CAs were then used to trust. This was all for the automated portion, where you'd be SSHing into things. CAs is actually kind of nice if you set them up, if you have the organizational capacity to actually use the A certificates more than one time, the time that you make them. Brofu is kind of BS. What else? Oh, for where I teach / taught, well, I've got like a Canvas course deployment script that I need to look at, and that would, given a YAML file, it would skeletonize a Canvas course, and it would break it into modules, assignment groups with different weights, pages, quizzes, the bare skeleton, and then with the option of pre-filling certain things with content from LLM. So if you've got like a really generic basic intro to XYZ tool, it could autofill that and give you a springboard and a little Netacad deployment script. We use Netacad, Cisco Netacad, and NetLabs for different lab environments. And I wrote a script to provision student accounts and email them all their little temporary passwords. Don't know where that is. It's out there. Wondering where I am after I went to go get smokes. Okay, Warden was my hardened containerized server because it had Vault Warden, and a Fedora configuration script. This is for installing Fedora specifically, doing different configurations and customizations of GNOME and the UI and both the graphical and command line interface. Continuing, a bunch of different projects with acme.sh. Let's see, hitting different APIs, just a bunch of random APIs for threat intelligence. Flare. So Flare was just a notify NTFY. It's you can find it at notify.sh. It's really cool. Well, I'll just make it myself, even though they've solved it perfectly and it's great. I'm just going to make it myself. And I made this thing called Flare, which is an ephemeral Python server that messages in a very similar way and provides a dashboard. You spin up the ephemeral Python server, you curl down a payload into your script, and then it exposes functions like log functions that can report back to a centralized dashboard. It's all ephemeral, which is the nice part. That was Flare. And what else? Oh yes, 3,000 different Lark directories. Lark's this kind of MSP and training proto company that has been forming in my head and also in reality. That's what I'm posting this on. 3,000 different official. This is the final time I'm making a directory to put stuff in. I just made another one this morning. Yeah, Whisper. So a Python script that would use Whisper. What was it? PyWhisper, I think. And a YAML formatted class description, and it would use that to generate a prompt to the Whisper speech to text transcription model, and then it would do post-processing against a dictionary of IT and computer terms, and then the final post-processing step against Gemini or Cloud APIs. And what else? Micro VM constructor. Yeah, it was a Firecracker, little VM constructor. I did this in Rust to just spin up micro VMs, and that I haven't really done anything with. I think it was when I was in my sandboxing kick. So sandboxing, I definitely have a few bubble wrap projects in various states of decline and decay. Sandbox exec in Mac OS. Yep, sandbox exec. Few projects targeting that or just playing around with that. What is generator? What does generator do? What's generator generating? Passwords, okay. So it was one of the incarnations of Himitsu, my little password generator. HoneyNet, yes. Did I already get that one? No, I didn't. So that would spin up on DigitalOcean just SSH honeypots that would sit there and listen and report back to a Flare dashboard. And so you could watch people actively, or really bots actively, try to log in and issue commands to SSH. That's a thing. I need to start making decisions here. I can't do all of this nonsense. Ridiculous. Oh, that's not even to mention, my KeyPass XC experiments using that for different automation. I don't even want to think about the time spent against APIs and services that Cloudflare and AWS and Google offer. It's craziness. All right, so I've got a list. I don't know what the current line count is, but it's pretty significant already. It's enough to cause me stress. Oh no. Yeah, I've got a whole website I made for students with different Cisco CCNA level activities like spanning tree, implemented JavaScript, spanning tree topology simulator with different bridge IDs and priorities and so forth, and subnet activities, binary activities, configuration generators too. Configuration generator, and that was my HSRP spanning tree configuration generator. It would make sure that your HSRP and spanning tree were aligned, aka your HSRP primary and your spanning tree primary root are on the same layer 3 switch as you'd want if you think about it. Or you may already know that. Is that enough? I mean, it's probably about It's probably about a half of what I'm seeing here, but you get the point. I can only like keep yammering like this so long. I'm not going to subject you to visually seeing the contents of my file system, but that's a kind of an idea. This does not include any webinars, classes, one-off things that I was interested in that I wanted to record videos for, or assets or anything with video production. Whole other ballpark. Oh man, you wouldn't believe the amount of time you can spend in FFmpeg if you have ADHD. It is not good. So what am I going to do? I don't know, because I've just got no physical organization right now, no digital organization at all. Files everywhere, copies of files that are subtly different, and I can't tell which one's the current version, which one had an error that I'm gonna have to troubleshoot, and then different versions when I try to use GitHub, and now I've got some version up there and some version down here with very little relationship anymore. It's just like, me and dad. And I think what I'll have to do is this. I need to pare this down for sure. Prioritize it. And I'm thinking prioritize by whether it would be useful for me, whether it would be useful for other people, and then whether I find it fun. Now I find them all fun, but they're different degrees of fun. The HoneyNet deployer, that was a little bit less fun because it was so brittle, and that will be one of the first casualties. We are no longer going to deploy this HoneyNet. Honestly, there are already solutions out there that work way better. And what else? All my KeyPass XC nonsense, I think I can get rid of that. Oh my gosh, oh yeah. Jeez. There's the RTL, the SDR kick. That's great if you have ADHD. Give that a shot. My wrapper thing, I might keep that because that could be useful in a lot of different scenarios. Having a wrapper that downloads and does the cryptographic verification of what I liked about it was it ratchets the stored files. In other words, it makes this temporary file system, it spins up a bubble wrap sandbox, which downloads the installer package typically. It's downloaded to this temporary file system that's mounted with no execute. And only after verification with GPG would the file system or the file, would it be remounted as executable. So it cannot actually run at a file system level until there's a verification. I like that idea. I'm going to keep that. Barofu, I'm going to get rid of. Barofu, I'm sorry. We do not need a CA for every little Ansible playbook. And I'm going to continue in this vein. I'm thinking this. I want to pare this down to 5 things that I'm interested in. When it comes to scripting, 5 things. And that's it. And the rest I've just got to say goodbye to. Physical environment. I need to set aside a certain amount of space, I think. Anything that I can't fit in there has to go. Physical environment, it might be some shelving. If I can't fit all my computer and IT and tech stuff in that shelf, whatever doesn't fit in there, we'll have to go to OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace. I need to get my house in order with different Google Workspace and service providers because I've got 2 that I'm running concurrently. I've got like 6 Google email addresses, which has caused all kinds of issues with my job because when you sign into Gmail, it never opens the right account, right? It's always some other account. So I need to pare down my actual account count and, no pun intended, get that to a more manageable number. So my service provider count needs to be reduced. Pare down KeyPass XC, self-hosted Vault Warden, ongoing 1Password subscription. That's a lot, and not to mention just using the built-in password manager on Apple products when convenient. That's an awful lot of password managers for one person. Password managers and passwords. Get rid of some accounts and otherwise rotate the passwords or do something, get them all under the same roof. If maybe different vaults, then at least under the same type of vault. Maybe with KeyPass XC as a backup on an iron key or something. Time management, I need to really lock down to, but that's going to come. I think a lot of this is just symptoms of the problem is, I've got ADHD. I can hyper focus on anything and have a lot of fun. I mean, until now I'm just like drowning under my like monstrosities that I've created, Frankenstein shit. Like the underlying issue is just being sad. Because it sucks when you care about people, when you love people, and I've never had, it's always been amicable, and we've always kind of done the whole closure thing, and this one not so much. So I need to figure out some mental housekeeping, I guess. Sad. It is sad. And unfortunately, a lot of overlap between this friend and all these things that I like to do. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to go down that road now. Other than, man, I didn't know how much you love a baby. Once you spend enough time around a baby, man, you get hooked, huh? So mental housekeeping, physical housekeeping, digital housekeeping, if you want to kind of summarize it. And that's digital housekeeping locally with my files figuring out this is my actual Git provider. I'm probably going to self-host, but I need to just pick one. I need to stick with it and not keep making new accounts all the time, because stresses me out to think about keeping one maintained. I don't know if that's an ADHD thing for everyone else too. Just the maintenance is always not so exciting. It's actively something that I don't want to do. The prospect or the potential of a new account or a new project is what I really like. It's that initial potential that things have versus the follow through. In a lot of cases, that burns you. What I'm looking at now is just got too much. For other reasons, I've just been unlucky. I've had a lot of life circumstances simultaneously cause it hasn't been super easy. I've been alone a lot. I haven't been able to see people. Few people I have, and I've just been writing these damn scripts and not realizing that I'm burying myself in this as I went. I guess I'll try to edit this down. What else, man? I'll talk more about everything, and probably as I go through it, this is going to be I'm going to read more about ADHD, management, organization, time management, and all that, and probably turn this into a learning opportunity for me. Yeah, but also maybe I can summarize what's worked for me and kind of everything that I'm doing to get my shit in order. It's across the board. And not drinking. Not drinking too. That's exactly what I need. Some gasoline for this fire. All right. Anyway, I think that's enough. And we're going to talk about my facial hair. But the 4K and the 4K is just to torture you. Maybe I'll do 1440p. Maybe I'll take pity. All right.